Good morning. Three very strong home teams yesterday and no surprises. I didn't do any trading. Day off for me yesterday. Don't forget your old pals Vegler tend to turn up with over 2.5 goals. I starred that yesterday. And Middlesbrough continue to defy the odds. 2-goal haul before half-time. The red card was not in play from a trading perspective there. Was this a 3-3 Amiens and Clermont? And did they have anything to play for? Let's have a look. So if it was a 3-3 rather than a 4-2 to 4-3, that could have been an angle in, particularly with any motivating factors. So let's have a look. Amiens and Clermont. Can't see them. Well, yes. Must take points off your nearest rival match, this one. Clear need for Clermont to get the 3 rather than Amiens to get the 3 rather than Clermont. That brings Bologna now into the equation along with Nancy. So a vital win for Amiens. How did the match eventuate? Was it a 3-3 in the end? If so, I hope you would have spotted that for a lay the draw. Let's see how the game came out. Well, it was 3-2 by half time, 3-3, 71st minute. So have a think about a Desmond 3-3. And poor old Kai Bowie missing a penalty, thinking, oh, God, I've just cocked this one up. And then Averion turns up and gets rid of Kai Bouet's embarrassment at being unable to score when you're being paid to do so. Unbelievable, Jeff. So a really good match, that one, from a trading perspective. Take on those late draws, particularly when a win for either side could literally change the season. In SerieA, 2 home bankers, and Roma even getting to the 2-goal haul that we would have expected at those odds as well. They're 1-0 merchants, generally speaking, but 2 great results. I don't think Cremonese scored first in this particular match. If it was, it would have been Jamie Vardy. No, Thorsby. Hello. Tell Thorsby. Kristovic and Zappacosta were the 2 goals before half-time. This was as expected. 3 very, very strong home sides. The last one being Villarreal yesterday with a very comfortable home win, which you'd have expected on paper. They've been doing this all season. Espanyol scoring first. Nearly. 12th minute. That would have been a very welcomed opening goal. And then off we go. Vitakudze, Salinas, Pepe and Moliero. Job done. Easy as you like. So 3 bankers yesterday performing as bankers. No real trading angles. But that's why I do the banker list. You can normally rely upon them. Let's have a look on to today's trading angles. The AFC Champions League continues. Don't have any great interest in it, to be honest, but something like Al Ittihad, what these teams tend to do, concede the first goal and then go on and win. I don't know if it's in their contracts to do so, but it happens quite a lot. Watch out for that one at 6:15. Premier League this evening. Chelsea under Rosinha against Leeds. All we can do is look at Chelsea under Rosinha. We can't look at their performances prior. But he's done nothing wrong. Win, win, win all the time. Leeds have been a very, very tough team to beat since about December. They could provide a stern test for Rosinha. As ever, new managers meeting a side for the first time could find it difficult to unlock a Farker Leeds. You just don't know. So the new manager element is difficult, but on what we're seeing from Rosinha's Leeds, Chelsea, you'd be with them today. Everton against Bournemouth, 2.4, the favourite. Tells you everything you need to know about this particular match. I won't be researching it, although I probably ended up doing so. Quite simply telling you that it's too tough to call. Bournemouth away from home have been in awful form. They've just got back on their feet recently. But Everton, it could be a 2-goal haul. It could be a clean sheet, 1-0 win. You just don't know. 2.4 the favourite. Similar story, Tottenham and Newcastle. The reason for Newcastle not being strong favourite here today is just the poor away form. We can have a quick look at it if Soccer Stats will oblige. See why the market can't split these two, because ordinarily, on what you've seen this season, you'd have hoped the Geordies would do something. But the problem is they are nowhere near on the level they are at home. You can see that with Newcastle. All of their wins really coming against Fulham and lower at home. Sporadic away wins, Burnley and Everton. Notably, two defensively stout sides ordinarily. Tottenham do their best work away from home. Looks like they are too pressured at home. Interesting, both teams to score matches, generally speaking. That's something for you to think about. 2-2 last time these two met. Could arguably see that again, but you can quite clearly understand why the market can't read Newcastle. Only one win against sides above the bottom three away from home. And an inability to, generally speaking, score 2 goals. They've only done so in the wins. At home, you'd be relying on Newcastle to score 2+ goals. Look at that home scoring habit, particularly against Chelsea, all the way down to Burnley, 2+ goals at home. So that's the reason it's lukewarm in the market today. West Ham and Man United, quite simply, we look at the form for Man United under Carrick, and it is excellent, but there is some alarm bells there, just in the fact that they're conceding 2 goals too often. And West Ham are targeting 2 goals. It is a desperate need for points for West Ham, so you can't discount them as far as a win is concerned, because it's going to be a tactical one-off must get 3 points match. So setup might be different for the Hammers in this points collecting phase of the season. So we only really look at their recent form, both teams, and you can see 3 wins in 4 for West Ham. Sunderland and Burnley, a couple of the sides, so taking the gloss off that run a little bit. The Man United under Carrick steadied the ship against the Spuds, conceded 2 against Fulham, 2 against Arsenal. Have put that to bed, but you can't discount what he's doing. And he's got a tune out of Brian Mbeumo as well. 1 goal there for Mbeumo. 1 goal there and 1 goal there. So Brian Mbeumo and Dorgu in the first 2 matches working well under the new manager. Even got Casemiro on the score sheet. So the old age pensioner doing a good job as well. So this is the only form we can really look at from West Ham and Man United. And it is winning form for both. That does make this a little trickier. But you cannot discount what Carrick has done. An excellent job. Championship. Well, back in the old days, you'd have had Leicester as odds-on favourite, wouldn't you, at the beginning of the season? Just newly relegated against a fellow newly relegated Saints side. But now the market doesn't want to touch Leicester City. Maybe we take the hint. Southampton were odds-on favourite at the weekend and just managed a single goal in a very unimpressive win as far as the market was concerned. So just be careful with that. It's a poor match to unpack, with both sides stuttering a little recently. Both sides you'd be expected to be vying for automatic promotion at the very least, but they've whimpered, and Leicester are on a relegation dogfight footing. 2 sides as well with goals you can't really trust. Southampton did have that 3-goal habit recently, and as I say, just scored a single goal at odds on. Oxford United and Norwich. Oxford United have a good defensive foundation to work off. So this could be a 0-0 for a while. You might want to lay over 0.5 goals at the start of this match and hope that the 0-0 Oxford turn up. If they do, well, Norwich about the 65th, 70th minute have turned up with late goals this season, particularly when the in-play stats are speaking. This is a local derby, Birmingham against West Brom. So automatically, I wouldn't take the odds as written, 1.81 home favourite. But the need is great for Birmingham. A win takes them to 48 points, and that could see them on the cusp of a top 6 place. So huge match for them. West Brom aren't even in the top 15, so they're in a spot of bother, just above the relegation zone. A win for them, taking to 36, bringing Norwich and Charlton into the equation. So it's desperate need for points for Leicester and West Brom this evening. That is awful to see, isn't it? Fall from grace. So it's a local derby. Be very careful. That's the problem. Huge motivation, huge carrot of a playoff place with home advantage today. Can they take that carrot? Looking at English League One, Peterborough, the simple rule for me, when they're odds on, they tend to lose. When I leave them alone, like today, they're going to be winning 2-0, 3-0. We will see. They've been up and down form-wise, and it's not the kind of side you want to be trading. Side you can't quite pin when they're going to win. Stevenage against Barnsley, we've got an odds-on favourite at home. Where are they in the league? That will be my primary motivator today. Stevenage and Barnsley. Well, Stevenage with a win takes them to 45 points. Will still be outside the top 6, but will be a lot closer. So big motivation. You've got home advantage as well. Barnsley look to be in a touch of relegation trouble today. 5 points above the relegation zone. A win takes them into that important 40-point barrier here. So that's certainly a match you'd be looking at. Stevenage and Barnsley for laying that late draw like we would have done, I hope, with that 3-3 yesterday. Wigan and Reading. Well, Reading with 3 points, take them to 43. Still quite a way off the top 6, but a win could be vitally important. And Wigan, of course, out of the relegation zone with a win for them today. So huge motivation in these two matches. Could get the eye at 7.45. Cambridge let us down at the weekend, 2-0 to 2-1. I did show you in the live stream how to get out of that 2-0 scenario with a break even. We got the goal from Cambridge. They're only dropping of points for some time, it must be said. Been climbing up that board, one of only a handful of sides in the 50-plus point barrier, which is what you're going to be needing for a top 6 place. They've also got a game in hand over teams above them and a couple of teams below them. So they're in a good footing, Cambridge, but they must take advantage. Dropped points last match. They are away from home again. That could be their Achilles heel. And with Crawley, where are Crawley? They're not in the top half. They're in 20th place, and they are 5 points above the relegation zone. Won't be in the squabble, even with a loss today, but getting a little bit too closer. Only 2 places. They should really be eyeing avoidance with only 2 places. So a fascinating match where points is required for both teams. You'll be looking at Cambridge United more to turn a draw into a win. Shrewsbury against Barrow. 2.32 the favourite. Again, suggests a tough match to unpack. Shrewsbury are just above the relegation zone by 2 points. So we know this is the bottom 4. That's why it's tough to pack. 2.32 the favourite. Bottom 4 playing must take points off your near rival. It's as simple as that. With a win today, Barrow will be within 3 of the 30-point barrier, which should be the safety net. If Newport and Harrogate continue to lose, but Newport picking up a win, then the Shrews and Barrow have nothing to worry about. But a little bit too near. Both are within striking distance, albeit the safety net of goal difference for Barrow. So this is one of those must take points off your nearest rival. It'll be like that 3-3 yesterday. You'll lay that late draw, I would hope, DBF Pokal, Hertha Berlin Freiburg. I think these two have got other things to think about, particularly Hertha Berlin, trying to go up from the Bundesliga 2, get rid of this German Cup. Samp, Palermo, any odds-ons today? It's a very, very tricky coupon. Look at the first 5 matches. 2.2, 2.75, 2.75, 2.75. This is near enough the highest odds you're going to see for a favourite in the match odds market. It gets to about 2.8, I think. Tells you the market can't pick a winner. It can't tell you this is going to be a 0-0, a 2-2, an away win, home win. They don't know. So you take the hint as a trader. We're already fighting a losing battle with these 3 matches. Okay? It's been told. And if I did the research for these, I bet you I would come up with the same conclusion. You'd either be backing both sides or you can't make a case for either side. What you can do, though, have a look at the matches in these live standings, if they work. And just to get an idea of the team with the biggest carrot, that would be outside the top 8, I would suspect, today. So Sampdoria and Palermo. Palermo with a win, 44 plus 3 is 47. They could go into the top 2. So huge motivating factor for Palermo, more so than Sampdoria, who disappointing to see down in 25th. Entella and Cesena. Well, Cesena with a win takes them into the 40-point club, and that could just boost them up from the playoff quarterfinals into a semi-final berth eventually. So it's a must-win for me for Cesena, although they are away from home. Entella are in the relegation zone, so must-win match, that one. Padova and Carrarese just outside the relegation zone, again, outside the promotion spots. Carrarese, but they won't get into them. But they do have to start winning. Pescara, it looks a forlorn hope. If you're thinking you have to get to 22, 23 to get out of here. A win will take them nearer to the 20-point barrier, which is the key to survival, Pescara. But it's looking doomed for them, Mr. Manuel. Catanzaro, a surprise that they're not favourite today, with the bigger motivating factor against bottom of the league. Takes them up to 38, which again, trying to break into that semi-final berth rather than going through the quarters for the playoff places. So Pescara, are they automatically gettable this evening? Reggiana against Montevo. Reggiana in the relegation dogfight. Venezia are up the top, I know that. And Modena are clinging on for dear life. They will remain top 8 with a win today. They will remain top 8 regardless. They can't be caught. But a nice 7-point gap if they can win. Carrarese lose. That gap will be pretty decent. 2 wins and a draw to get to them. That's a nice cushion. So a huge match, I think, for Modena against the probable champions Venezia, who are going to be back in SerieA B, barring a catastrophic end of the season. So plenty going on in Italian SerieA B this evening. Scottish Premiership, Hearts at odds on, tend to deliver. They have been a little lapse recently. They did lose at 0-1 in the last match, but they have won at 0-1 in 2 previous matches this season. Watch out for them at home. I would be looking to favour them. And it's warming up nicely in the Super League. Well, got an odds-on favourite at home. Luzerne and Grasshoppers, any motivating factor for these 2 names? Luzerne, 10th place, Grasshoppers 11th. So not the most trustworthy pair on the planet. So I would give that a little short shrift. I will try to stay awake this evening. The transition to Thai time has been very difficult for me, so my apologies. I would be particularly interested in the 7 o'clock start for SerieA B for members of FootballTradingProfits.com. Have a great day. I hope to see you on Telegram later on. It looks an appealing enough coupon.